Hello friends, welcome to my channel Learn with Dr. Khizar. This is the part 15 video of income from capital gains. In the previous 4 videos we started with practical problems. This video will also have further continuation of problems on income from capital gains. So this is the 5th problem, I guess, pertaining to income from capital gain. So without wasting our time, let us directly start a problem. So here is the question. It says that Mr. X submits the details of assets sold for the year ending 31st March 2019. They have given 4 different points. First point says about shares unlisted purchased in April 2001 for rupees 54,000, sold on 15th December 2018 for 3,95,000. On 1st April 2001, he agreed to sell jewelry to Mr. Y for rupees 2,70,000, which was purchased in 1976 for rupees 1,50,000. However, the sale could not be effected as Y backed out. He forfeited the advance of 20,000 which he received from Y. He now sold the jewelry on 15th July 2018 for rupees 33,10,000 and incurred rupees 20,000 incidental selling expense on brokerage and commission. Point number 3 says about debentures purchased in September 2018 for rupees 50,000, sold on 31st December 2018 for rupees 65,000. Then point number 4 says sold his motor car purchased in August 2005 for rupees 1,50,000 on 15th March 2017 for rupees 1,60,000. The cost inflation index for the relevant years is given. For 2001 and 2, 100. For 2018-19, 280. Compute his income from capital gains for the assessment year 2019-20. So here is the question. So till now whatever problems we have done, it was pertaining to only one asset. Either it was pertaining to house property, or it was pertaining to agricultural land, or it was pertaining to debentures. But in this problem there are 4 different assets given. One is shares. Let me little bit highlight this. One is shares, other is jewelry, then the third asset they have told debentures, and the fourth asset is motor car. Hope you are understanding it. So here they have given 4 different assets. Means that differently we will solve problems individually on each asset. Okay. So let us start the first asset. It is shares. So shares unlisted purchased in April 2001 for 54,000, which was sold on 15th December 2018 for 3,95,000. So here they are clearly telling that the purchase of shares was done in 2001 for 54,000 and the sale of shares was done in 2018 for 3,95,000. Correct? So shares unlisted they have mentioned here. Okay. So shares, if you notice, it is an financial asset. The rule for financial asset is 1 year criteria. If the assessee holds the shares for less than a period of 1 year, it will be short term, otherwise it will be considered to be long term, right? So let us try to understand this. Okay, so who is the assessee here? Mr. X is the assessee, and he is assumed to be resident because clearly it is not mentioned that he is a resident. Our previous year is 2018-19 and assessment year is 2019 and 20, right? Then here, coming towards shares, okay, format will remain same, particulars amount. Shares, they purchase shares in the year 2001, they have sold in the year 2018, means which is more than a period of 1 year the assessee was holding this share with him, right? Who is the assessee? Assessee is Mr. X. So Mr. X was holding share for a period of more than 1 year. In that case, it is considered as long-term capital asset. We need to follow the format of long-term capital asset. So what is the format? It starts from gross sale consideration. How much is the sale value of share they have told? They have told the sale value of share is 3,95,000 and purchase value is 54,000, right? So let us take 3,95,000. No information is given on realization expenses in the whole problem pertaining to shares. So it will be nil. So if you subtract this two, you will get 3,95,000 itself as your net sale consideration, right? Then next you will minus indexed cost of acquisition because the asset is long term in nature. So indexing is required for cost of acquisition. So here, what is the purchase value? What is the formula? First let us understand. So working note 1, indexed cost of acquisition equals cost of acquisition divided by cost inflation index of the year of acquisition multiplied by cost inflation index of the year of sale. Because it was sold in our previous year, so I have written as previous year. So cost of acquisition, we saw we purchased the share in 2001 for 54,000 divided by, in 2001 the cost inflation index, in 2001 the cost inflation index is given 100. You can see here the cost inflation index in 2001-2 is 100 and 2018-19 is 280, right? So cost inflation index purchase year is 100 and in the previous year it is 280. 54,000 divided by 100 into 280, if you do, you will get 1,51,200. So this is your indexed cost of acquisition. Hope this is clear. Next comes, as per the format, indexed cost of improvement. No information is given on this, so it will be nil. Then you will minus net sale consideration with indexed cost of acquisition, indexed cost of improvement. Finally, you will get answer of, that is 2,43,800. This is called as in gross capital gain. With this, you will subtract the exemptions. No information is given on exemption. So the final answer is called as taxable long-term capital gain. That is your this value. 2,43,800 is your taxable net capital gain. Hope this is clear. So we have completed one part of the problem, 1 point. Let us jump to the second point. Second point says that on 1st April 2001, he agreed to sell jewelry to Mr. Y for rupees 2,70,000, which was purchased in 1976 for 1,50,000. They sold for 2,70,000. Just a moment. On 1st April 2001, he agreed to sell jewelry to Mr. Y. So in the year 2001, Mr. Y was ready to purchase the jewelry for 2,70,000, which was purchased by Mr. X in 1976 for rupees 1,50,000. 1,50,000 is your purchase value. 2,70,000 is the sale value which was agreed by Mr. Y. However, the sale could not be effected as Y backed out. Means that Y did not purchase the jewelry. Okay, he forfeited the advance of rupees 20,000 which he received from Mr. Y. So X had received 20,000 as advance for selling of jewelry, okay, of 2 lakhs for 2,70,000, but because it was not executed, sale was not done, in that case they forfeited the advance of rupees 20,000 which he received from Mr. Y. So cancellation was done. He now sold jewelry on 15 July 2018 for 33,10,000 and incurred 20,000 incidental expenses on the account of brokerage and commission. Means that in the year 2018 he sold a jewelry for some other person. So who is that person? Name is not given. So he sold that jewelry for 33,10,000. For selling this he incurred a expense of 20,000, okay, as brokerage and commission. So let us see here what is the sale value here. 33,10,000 is the sale value. We should not take 2,70,000 because it was not executed and it is in the year 2001. It is not in the year 2018-19. We have to take the sale value of 2018-19 itself because we solved the problem for 2018-19, right? So just a moment, give me a moment, I will hide all this. Okay. So jewelry is what type of asset? Jewelry is a other asset, right? 3 years is the criteria. Mr. X purchased jewelry for in the year 2001, he sold in the year 2018, right? So what is the gross sale consideration? He sold jewelry for 33,10,000. If you remember, there was realization expense, that is brokerage and commission was there for 20,000. If you minus this two, you will get net sale consideration of 32,90,000. You are minusing, subtracting this two. Okay, you will get this value. Then because this is long-term capital asset, so indexing need to be done. So indexing should be done. So here because fair market value is also given for jewelry, we need to do fair market value also. Where is that fair market value? Okay. So here because the agreed price for sale in the year 2001 is given, so we have to take the consider this and assume this as a fair market value itself. Okay, for that we are going to apply the formula of indexed cost of acquisition. Whenever fair market value is given, you are going to calculate revised cost of acquisition. First divide that with cost inflation index of year of purchase and cost inflation index of year of sale. Okay, so let us see what is the cost. Cost of acquisition was 1,50,000 which he purchased in which year? He purchased this in the year 76 for 1,50,000 and fair market value is 2,70,000, right? So I think here we have to change. Fine. So revised cost of acquisition is 1,50,000, fair market value is 2,70,000. Whichever is highest in this you are going to take. So highest here is fair market value, so you are going to take fair market value, whichever is highest. Because in this problem there is forfeited of money, right? So what is the rule says here? If there is forfeited of money, you have to minus with this to get the revised cost of acquisition. 20,000 was the value which was taken as advance and it was forfeited. So if you minus 20,000 with this, 2,50,000 will be your revised cost of acquisition. So revised cost of acquisition divided by year of acquisitions CAI. So here because it was purchased in 1970, where is that? Okay, it was purchased in 1976 because there is no cost inflation index for this year. So we have to consider the cost inflation index of the year of fair market value. So for 2001 and 2 the cost inflation index is 100 and for 18-19 the year of sale it is 280, right? So here we will take 2,50,000, that is the revised cost of acquisition, divided by 100, that is the cost inflation index of fair market value, multiplied by 280, that is the cost inflation index of the previous year. If you do, you will get the answer of 7 lakh. So 7 lakh is your indexed cost of acquisition. And there is no information given on indexed cost of improvement. So it will be nil. Then if you minus these two items with net sale consideration, that is 32,90,000 minus 7 lakh minus 0, you will get gross capital gain as 25,90,000. Then there is no information on exemption, so final answer also will be 25,90,000. Okay, hope you have understood this part also. Here you need not get confused. There were two transactions happened. One in the year 2001, okay, for rupees 2,70,000, but it was not executed. Okay, so this was not executed because here it was valued, our jewelry is valued here for 2,70,000. Same year we are going to consider as fair market value year. Okay, and other things are same, and apart from this forfeited of shares, forfeited of advance. He had taken advance because this was not executed and it was forfeited, so you need to minus. Okay, hope things are clear. Okay, then third thing, if we come across, so let me hide this part also. Okay, so what is the third asset is debentures. Debentures purchased in September 2018 for 50,000, sold on December 2018 65,000. Within that year itself they have purchased and sold the debentures. So in that case the debentures here will be considered as short term debentures. So let us directly solve the problem. Okay. This is there, you will get confused, so I am hiding this. Okay, fine. So now let us solve. So assessee is X, assumed to be resident, all these things will remain same. Debentures, it was purchased in September 2018, sold in December 2018, means within a period of 2-3 months it was sold. So debentures is one of the financial asset. For financial asset, rule says that within 1 year if it is sold, okay, you are not holding the debentures for a period of 1 year, then it will be considered as short-term capital asset. Okay, so we have declared and we are going to apply the format of short-term capital asset. Now, short-term capital asset, what is the format? It starts from gross sale consideration. What is the sale value of debenture? It was sold for 65,000, purchased for 50,000. Remember these values. So sale consideration is 65,000. There is no information on realization expense, sale expenses. So if you minus this, you will get same answer of 65,000. That is net sale consideration minus cost of acquisition. Because this is short term, directly we will do cost of acquisition instead of doing indexed cost of acquisition. So cost of acquisition or purchase is 50,000. We purchase this for 50,000. Cost of improvement, no information is given. So if you minus this 2, you will get answer of 15,000. 65 minus 50,000. So it is considered to be gross capital gain. There are no information given on exemption. It will be nil. So taxable short-term capital gain will be 15,000 rupees. Hope this is also clear. Then coming towards the fourth item, that is sold his motor car purchased in August 2005 for rupees 1,50,000 on 15th March 2017 for rupees 1,60,000. Sold his motor car purchased in August 2015 for 1,50,000 and it was sold on, just I think there is a confusion in date, it is 2018 I guess. Okay, 2018 for rupees 1,60,000. So let us see the calculation. Car they have given, right? So car is personal asset. We have assumed this as a personal asset because no information is given. If it is personal, then we don't consider if it is sold also as a capital gain. If you remember the theory part of our that is videos we have discussed already. Okay, any asset which is used for personal usage, or any asset which is put to use for personal use, in that case it will not be considered as capital gain if it is sold also. Though it is a capital asset, everything it is solving, but it is used for personal use. In that case, we are not going to consider it as a capital asset. So motor car here we have considered as personal, and so we are not calculating anything here. Okay, so we have done with the all 4 assets, right? So we have done with shares, we have done with jewelry, we have done with debentures, and we have done with sale of motor car also. So they have clearly mentioned sold his motor car. Okay, so we have considered this as personal. Okay, now final answer we have to calculate. Computation of taxable income from capital gain. Add all the long term capital gains first, then add all the short term capital gains. Here long term capital gains we solved, shares long term, jewelry long term, right? So the final answers of shares and jewelry we got. For shares we got, see, share is a long term capital asset, we got 2,43,800. For jewelry we got 25,90,000. These are the 2 long term, and 1 short term was debentures, and the motor car we considered as personal. Debenture is 15,000. Let us see here. So long term capital gains, let me highlight this, you will understand. Okay, so long term capital gains, share and jewelry, these are the 2 long term we have declared. So we have arrived at the answers, final answers which we calculated, and 28,33,800 is the answer if we add the total taxable values of shares and jewelry. Then we had 1 short term capital gain, that is debentures. So it was 15,000. So, and 1 more is motor car which we considered as personal, used for personal purpose. So if you add this 2, you will get 28,48,800. This is your total income from capital gains. This is how the problems will be given for section C. Okay, they will give a mix of assets. Okay, they may give in detail 1 asset also. Okay, many adjustments we will have as we have done previously, and if there are short that is adjustments or less adjustments, this type of mixed problems they are going to give. See, in this problem there were 4 assets given. Okay, hope you have understood this. See you in the next video. Till then, practice this problem, okay, well, so that you will not get any confusions. And if you have any confusion and doubt, as usual, type in the comment section, and I will try to solve your doubt. And stay tuned with this channel.